This is the K-Pop Cast, bringing you the best sounds and ideas in K-pop each week. I'm your host, Stephanie.
Hello, everybody. It's your PD and Michaela.
And for this special episode, we're discussing TAN Asia Festive Tour in Fresno. And answering the question, what does it take to bring K-pop where it has never been before?
But before we dive in, don't forget to join the Kpop Cast community on Slack and sign up for hard-hitting editorial on our newsletter. Links to those in the episode description.
So this episode is mainly going to be story time from our international Central Valley correspondent, PD Neem.
Let me set the stage for you, Stephanie.
Please do.
It was late into the night. I was scrolling Twitter, around 10 p.m. when I should have gone, been sleeping like a responsible adult.
Yep, been there.
And all of a sudden, I see the hashtag Fresno pop up and trending, and I was like, oh, I wonder what horrible incident happened? For Fresno to be trending.
Yeah, me too.
And I click on the link, and there it is. TAN is touring in the U.S., and the two stops are Atlanta and Fresno. Oh my God, I wanted to cry. I tweeted about it right away, and then I was like, oh my God, this is amazing, and I wanted to talk about it with everybody, and then I remembered it was midnight and nobody was awake. And then I immediately was in action mode. I was like, okay, this is the first K-pop concert in my city. I've been waiting so many years for this. I want to just, I want this to be the most successful thing ever. So I start reaching out to all these people and just like finding the community here so that we can do our part and see if we can get this to happen again.
We're rallying the people, mobilizing the troops.
Right. And then I just had this whole question around this, like, how did this even happen? And like, how do we get it to happen again?
How did they know Fresno exists?
Exactly. So that was kind of my approach for this whole experience of covering the show. Was I wanted to kind of see if we can answer those questions and then see if we could maybe, get some tips for people who, in other cities and other places, maybe even internationally, who want to bring K-pop shows to their city.
Oh, that's so generous.
Right?
I thought you were going to just like try to get all the other K-pop acts to come to Fresno again and again and again. Keep them to yourself.
Like I said, I'm like, I really want to, get the magic to happen again. It was really cool.
Why not both?
Right. Why not both? Right. So before we get started into this journey into the TAN bringing K-pop to a place that's never been before, let's talk about TAN.
I'm ready for it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Walking on the moon. Beyond the fantasy can breathe. You want me walking on the moon. Moving like a gravity. You come chase. You want me walking on the moon. 달빛이 널 들어줘가 So high. 별빛도 널 비추는 밤.
TAN, for you guys that don't know, is a 7-member project boy group under Think Entertainment. They debuted back in March in 2022, and they were formed on the NBC survival show Extreme Debut Wild Idol.
Wild Idol.
Yeah, with Kukan debut 야생돌, right? So, did you see this program, Stephanie? Did you hear about this when this was going down?
I think I saw some trailer clips. I didn't know where I could watch it, so I just gave up.
Yeah,
was it on YouTube or something?
It was hard to find. You have to, find the links to get the subtitles.
The best shows always are really hard to find. Oh, by the way, TAN stands for To All Nations.
Yeah, because they're a group that's
to
meant
all cities.
Yeah, to all cities,
all townships, all provinces. Villages,
unincorporated towns. Yeah. But the thing about their survival show that really set it apart from everything else was how physically intense it was. So when they say extreme debut, they meant it because they were evaluated on like their physical stamina as well as their skill level.
Wasn't there a push-up contest?
Yes,
That's what I remember.
Examples, they're like, climbing over logs, they're doing push-ups on rocks, they're doing bear crawls in the ocean. Like it was very much like combining the Hunger Games and a survival show.
Or like, physical 100 and idol survival.
Yeah, like Kim Jong-kook was the MC, clearly.
Of course.
Minho was a mentor and a judge.
Obviously, he always wins all the physical challenges with idols.
But, thinking back to it, I feel like, at this time they were filming around like 2021. So with COVID still going on, I feel like this was NBC's way to, have a production outside, because they were literally outside in tents and sleeping out in tents the whole time, while still having this kind of like survival program. So I feel like it kind of like was the best of the both worlds for them at the time. So they go through the show and we get the 7 members of TAN. So the names of the members are Changsung, Taehoon, Jisung, Sunghyuk, Jaejun, Hyunyuk, and Juwon. And all of them they've got history. Like Changsung is a member of 24K. Jisung is a member of NTX. These two groups that are currently promoting. The 24K, we know they were on peak time.
Yeah,
the little babies on peak time. Other, part of other groups like Rain, Scene Clown, Trey, We in the Zone. Yeah, so all of these guys came to this program with some kind of
I knew they were not
experience.
giving rookie energy when they debuted, honestly.
Exactly.
I had a feeling. I was like, these guys have been around.
And since their debut, the group, according to the official press release, has released 2 mini albums, 1 full album, amassing tens of millions of views, specifically on their music videos for the songs Do Do Do, Louder, and Walking on the Moon, which we've talked about on the show because it is the boppiest bop
We're
out there. We're
huge fans.
And their fandom name is called SODA, which is an acronym for Special Oxygen Dynamic Adorable.
So K-pop.
So K-pop. I was so nostalgic when I saw this. I was like, oh my goodness.
Yep. So tell us about the tour. Like, okay, we know about their debut. They started building success and then they started looking internationally.
Yeah, taking it to all nations, which is their concept. So they have the TAN Asia Festival. So this is their US tour. And they had originally just the stops in Atlanta and Fresno, but then they added Sacramento at the end. So kind of their first performances in the U.S., trying to get to as many regions as they could. But the promoters for the tour are mostly based in Atlanta, which is why Atlanta was really more of the festival stop. Like they had dance teams come perform as openers for them.
Nice.
Which is really cool to see, especially for those fans of TAN to get to perform on the stage as them.
Right.
But so for Fresno, they came in and performed at the Tower Theater venue. Which,
like Atlanta is obviously like a bigger metropolitan city and that they have bigger venues. It's a bigger scene out there. So they made it more of a festival vibe, I think, with a lot of different groups collaborating. Whereas Fresno, I'm guessing, had a more intimate vibe, or like, what are we talking?
Yeah, very intimate. It's a historic theater, like a movie theater that's been converted into a performance venue. So it's very like everybody's in their seats. But everybody has a very clear view of the stage, and you really get to be present and connect with them.
I like that. I just saw Epic High at the Fox Theater in Oakland. Yeah, shout out to my buddies who got me tickets. DJ John, Todd, what's up? And yeah, I really liked the size of that venue and how we got like the venue was sloped, so you didn't have to be blocked by people in front of you. It just had a clear view. So I can appreciate that.
And so we come to our first question, Stephanie. So why did TAN go to Fresno?
That's my question as well.
Right. After they had this big old festival in Atlanta, when they came to California, why Fresno? So in my first attempt
I ain't mad. I'm just curious.
Right. As my first attempt to answer this question, I reached out to the team, the 559 Kpop District. They're the K-pop kind of subsection of the 559 night market that we have out here. It's kind of like similar to, if you know, the 626 market in LA, where it's like more Asian American culture focused market with like food vendors and actual vendors who are selling things and stuff like that.
That's so cool. Is 559 the Fresno area code?
Yeah, that's our area code.
Hey,
We're the 559.
Hey, represent 559.
And so I talked with Mariah, Javi, and Naomi from their team to tell us more about the K-pop fan community here in Fresno and how they actually got in contact with TAN's team to help run the show out here. So here's the first clip that I want. Okay. So first of all, can you tell me or tell our listeners, like, what is the 559 K-pop District, and how did it get started? Like, how would you all meet and make this team?
Yeah, so the 559 K-pop District was created because it was just a bunch of performers that we got together, and we were just trying to really expand the K-pop community and the Asian community in our valley. Just because it's one of those things where it's not very well known here and people don't really have outlets here to go to. So we really wanted to make sure that we gave, like, you know, younger generations, especially with the newer generations coming in, we wanted to make sure we gave them an outlet to be able to, like, be free about who they want to, like, who they want to be and who they want to listen to without being judged and without any type of like awkwardness. Like, we understand, because a lot of us have like 10 years of K-pop that we've loved for, like, you know, ever, and a lot of us grew up with bullying in school and stuff like that. So we want to make sure, like, we're also being advocates for those people who are dealing with stuff like that in school and letting them know, like, it's okay to be different.
Yeah, sorry. I'm also a performer, but I mainly joined because of the same reason why Mariah was saying. I mainly wanted to give an outlet to those K-pop fans that didn't have one before, because growing up, we didn't really have K-pop events here, especially dancing. Like, I would just dance at home, like, by myself, recording covers and stuff like that. But now that there's, like, events going on, I perform in front of people. And I think it's nice that, like, it keeps growing. Like, our community was started off really small, like New Era. They were the first performers, like she said. And now it's gotten a lot bigger. Yeah.
Yeah, so going back to my first question about your goals for the team, I know you talked about the broader vision in general, but for each of you, is there any individual goal or thing that you would like to see happen in the future with the K-pop District?
My individual goal is eventually I want to be able to get big enough to where not only are, like, small restaurants or, like, businesses around Fresno are reaching out to us about that. I want them to also, like, I want other, like, promoters to be able to reach out to us, be like, hey, like, we see you expanding, we see your social media, hey, like, help us out with this, like, you know, help us put on a concert or something. The big goal eventually is to hopefully have a concert sometime soon in Fresno.
So I know some of you are new to TAN, but I know you've all said you've been fans of K-pop for years now. So I know this is the first time that a group has performed in Fresno, probably in, like, the last 14 years, since the Wonder Girls performed with the Jonas Brothers way back when on their tour. So for you guys personally, I don't know if you guys are locals, but what does it mean for you that they're finally coming here and bringing K-pop to Fresno for the first time?
Oh, man. To me personally, it means a lot to me that they're coming here. Even if, like, you know, they're a smaller band, I don't care. I will make them the biggest band here in Fresno if I had to, because it's just one of those, like, things that we can show other people, other promoters, that, you know, Fresno has a chance here. And it's like, especially being in the middle of LA and San Francisco, literally 3 hours away from each. And, you know, where things here are a little bit cheaper than, you know, those bigger cities. And to me, it's like, I think groups have bigger potentials here as well, with, like, everything just being able to travel here a lot faster. You know, it's a lot easier to get here. But I don't know, it's just it's all happening way too fast for me.
So you'll probably after the concert is over, maybe like a few days, you'll be able to process everything.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, because I've done big tours, I've worked on full tours and stuff like that, and every time I run into new promoters, I'm like, hey, like, Fresno, yeah. Hey, like, what about Fresno here? you need a spot? So I kind of slowly been like throwing out Fresno here and there, but being able to finally see someone come and, it coming from a different person, it was nice to know that there are other people out here trying to get Fresno on the map.
What about you guys? I mean, are you guys all locals? Are you from Fresno, from the area?
Born and raised.
Okay, so me too. So I'm right here with you. I'm happy to see all this happen.
Yeah, I agree. Because I've listened to K-pop since I was born, practically. My parents loved K-pop, back in the day, all the Finkel and stuff like that. So...
SES, Baby Vox, all the first gens.
So finally being able to have this, it's like the little kid inside of me is shrieking because, one, I don't have to beg my parents to let me go all the way down to LA or SF. To have this opportunity is like a big thing, and it's a huge stepping stone for us. And I really hope that it can open doors for other groups. And I'm really hoping for a girl group.
Right, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, so what about you? What does it mean to have Fresno have K-pop for the first time?
For me, I actually went to the Wonder Girls and Jonas Brothers concert.
Same.
That was my first exposure to K-pop, and from then, they were my inspiration to start dancing and doing everything.
So
Yeah.
really, so you just showed up and the opener was the Wonder Girls, and you were
I was
like, who are
"What?"
they?
Yeah, exactly. And then so I think it's just like a dream come true that another K-pop group is finally seeing Fresno as a possible spot to have a concert, and the fact that it's happening is like, wow.
Yeah, you got a lot of juicy stuff in there. I really love how their motivation seems very personal and compassionate and down to earth. They just want to help folks who listen to K-pop find an outlet to find community and friends and express themselves in public. Yeah, right on to the 559 Night Market team for putting something together with that kind of mission. It seems like they're serving a community that's on the younger side. They mentioned younger generations coming in. Would that be like the college students at Fresno State? Who are these young people coming into?
Yeah, the college students and the high school students, more of the newer K-pop fans.
Okay,
who are more interested, in because I met them at their event that they did at one of the local kind of restaurant areas that were catered more to the Asian American community. And so they were doing random play dances, and there were other vendors selling K-pop merchandise and things like that, which is, those are the kinds of scenes that especially the younger K-pop fans really enjoy, especially when it comes to performing and getting a chance to dance and enjoy the music with everybody in person.
Yay. No, I can just see it now. That's amazing.
Yeah. So with talking with them, I got a sense of okay, so here's a group out here who's showing the visibility of the K-pop community. They're posting about it on social media. They're getting the word out. They're proving that there are a bunch of people out here who will pay for K-pop shows, essentially, right? Because that's why KCON exists, right?
Yeah.
They were like, hey, let's have an event and show people that there are fans here who are willing to gather and spend money on K-pop things to prove to these Korean companies and investors and promoters that they can come and bring somebody out and it'll be successful.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a great play to prove to brands, advertisers, whoever's coming to want to sell to that community, hey, we can bring them out. They have disposable income. Let's play ball.
Right. So the next people that I wanted to talk to was the venue specifically. So, Fresno isn't really known for having a great music scene as far as concerts and things like that. But I actually learned a lot talking with Lawrence Abbott, who's the main manager at the venue, the Tower Theater. And I learned more about kind of how Tan even came to that venue in the first place and more advice that we could give to other venues who are hosting K-pop shows for the first time. Again, we talked about this before, but we're a Bay Area based podcast, and we usually cover events happening in the Bay Area and in Southern California, but not a lot here in the Central Valley. And there's definitely a stereotype that there's not a lot of stuff coming through, but you say that's not true.
Not from where we stand. No, we're busy. Every weekend we try to have Thursday, Friday, Saturday bookings. We get Sundays too. We do a lot. We try to get around 200 shows a year. COVID kind of was obviously an issue, but we've slowly built back up. And no, the Valley has a lot right here. Fresno has a lot. Of course, LA and Frisco get the spotlight always, but if you're here and you're plugged in, you're going to see a lot of varieties of shows here.
Right. So you definitely see a future where you have more K-pop acts coming through to Fresno, coming through to this venue.
I'm new to K-pop, but I've been watching it gain traction over the last years, and I'm thrilled to be like the first one. I don't know. You said 14 years ago, something, but
yeah,
it's cool that it's here at one of the oldest venues too. I just think that's neat. So, oh yeah, I would love to have more K-pop. They're really friendly to work with. People are enthusiastic, to say the least. Mm-hmm. That's what I like.
I know this is your first show, but any advice for future venues who want to host K-pop acts in the future?
Yes, I would say there's definitely more attention that needs to be given the promoter. There's just language, obviously, barriers and things like that.
Of course, right.
But you just have to give it a little more attention. A lot of things are hardwired in our business, and so shows come and go, and they're just emails back and forth, signed up, and they're going. This took definitely more attention, but it was so worth it. The exposure, the fun, like I said, the excitement, the relationship that's now built.
Right.
And so it will be easier. And I think that's why it worked here. For me, I was willing to do that. And I saw the future of this. And plus, they're really nice people to work with. And so I enjoyed helping them through the hurdles of some of these things, which weren't big. But again, if you're in a new place trying to do these things, it just doesn't come auto. So no, it's just give a little more attention, and plan it's going to take more time to get all their questions answered.
Yeah, what did you think of what he said?
I mean, it was, as somebody who has no experience in the concert promotion business, it was interesting hearing him, talk about more of the history of the history of the venue and how, they were just simply found Fresno as an option and reached out. And it just happened to be that there was, again, this visibility of the fandom here and an interest in K-pop, as something that's not as niche as it used to be. Mm-hmm. And so a manager would know, oh, okay, so I have a reference for what a K-pop show is. Let's bring them over. And it's very exciting to know that we have that eagerness and that interest here in our city now.
Yeah, totally. I mean, of course, like he said, the main tour stops are usually in the Bay Area, San Francisco, or even Oakland, where I'm based, or sometimes San Jose, and then LA, of course. Like LA is like where it all started, right? K-pop concerts in the US started in LA, my hometown. But like a lot of the tour buses like go right through Fresno or go around to go in between those two locations. So I think it's only natural that they might look for how can we grab everybody that's in the middle of California and pick a stop right in the center.
Right. It's the perfect spot, like right in the middle. And that was something I saw when I was outside the venue talking to a bunch of the fans. Yeah. Was that they weren't all just from the Valley. There were some people who came out of state, states away and traveled like hundreds of miles to get here.
Dang.
I met up with the Tan USA fan base at their cup sleeve event, which was really cool to go to a cup sleeve event that was connected to a show, because we usually have cup sleeve events, but they're just, there's no.
Wait a minute. What is it for our listeners? Of course, what is a cup sleeve event?
Yeah, so a cup sleeve event is usually fans get together and they make, little cup sleeves, the sleeves that would go on like a cup of coffee or a drink, and they put, either like the group face on them with like logos and their official logo and things like that, and just give them away to fans for free. It's part of the K-pop fan economy where we make these little gifts to give to each other, and enjoy the group even more.
K-pop gift economy, sharing economy, hashtag.
Right. So I met up with them at their Cup Sleep event that they organized. Again, wanting to ask them about how it was, coming to Fresno for the first time and organizing the event, and also getting to know a little bit more about TAN from the people that know the most, the soda. So can you guys tell me a little bit about what the U.S. Soda Team fan club is?
So TAN USA was pretty much created because we found out that they were going to be going on tour, and that was way back in November. And we decided that there were a bunch of people that wanted to do little projects. So we decided to work together and just make our own USA team so that we could help and interact and meet other soda and just spread the word about events that TAN is doing here in the USA.
Got it. So you all, again, you've traveled very far to put on this event. Can you tell us more about this cafe event and kind of and what the process has been like for organizing it?
So it's actually been pretty interesting. So I had the idea that I wanted to do like a message book in a cafe like months and months and months ago, but it was all dependent on, hey, where are they actually going to be coming to when they come here? So once we found out where, it was like immediately just hit the books. Where's a cafe that's near a venue, something? Then we had to reach out to the different venues. So in Atlanta, we actually did it at Hansel and Gretel Bakery. And then here in Fresno, we are doing it here at Alchemist Coffee Lab. And for both of them, we had to reach out, make sure that we'd be able to take up a little corner of their store and that they were fine with people coming through, and if we could get stickers to put on things and play the music even in the background, that they were all okay. So it was a lot of extra little communication back and forth, but overall it wasn't too bad. So
got it. So it's clear all of you are soda. So for people who don't know TAN, can you tell us more about what sets them apart from other groups and why you became a soda? Take your time.
Recently, I saw an article or a personal witness of TAN at a cafe event that they had recently. And even people who don't support TAN, who are just observing from the outside, they can tell that they're just the same on stage and off stage. They're very kind and they're kind to each other. They work well as a team. And when you see that, it kind of makes it more cohesive between the fans and the group.
Mm-hmm. Anybody else have an answer for why you became a soda and what sets them apart from other teams?
So I would say that they are a group that, because of their past experiences and having pretty much all of them having had some sort of a rough road between members that have been in previous groups,
right? And
even Hyunyup and Taehoon, who this is their first time debuting, they've had their debut path has been rough, and they've been through a lot. So they each come to TAN with like this expectation and this hope with it that sometimes you see other groups that might take it for granted. And they just love every single moment that they have on stage and with their fans. So,
for personally, like I don't know, are any of you locals from California or the Central Valley? Or you're all out of state? Oh, you are?
I'm from California.
You're from California?
From Los Angeles.
Oh, LA. All right. So you came a little ways.
I mean, hometown's LA.
Uh-huh.
I'm currently in North Carolina, but I always come here very often because it is hometown. So
okay. So what does it mean for you personally that TAN is finally coming here to the U.S. to tour?
For me personally, it's a dream come true. It's a bucket list item that I had to see Johan perform because I've followed him for quite a while. So yeah, it's a tick off the bucket list, and I feel like you don't always get that in life.
Yeah, like Faith said, it's a bucket list thing. I've been begging the boys to come for a year now, and finally they're actually here. I don't have to go halfway across the world just to see them. So it's nice that they're here, and they seem to be having so much fun. So,
in addition to the selfish reasons, because obviously I don't have to travel as far, although living in Wyoming, I had to travel 1,000 miles to Fresno.
Oh my goodness.
2,000 miles to Atlanta. So it's far for me, but for them to have the opportunity to experience our country and to be able to like share all of that culture and the food and the experience with them, I feel so lucky because we're able to share that with them.
It's such an honor for them to. It's such an honor for us to have them here, as much as it's an honor for them to kind of see us as well. It's so far away. Like, they're traveling from Korea to come meet Sodas, which is insane. Very excited. They're also doing very touristy things.
Right.
Like, they were just in LA in the morning, and yesterday. So, having them have that experience of going to these cool places, and especially because we're such a small fandom, it's such a privilege that we get to see them here.
Yeah.
Because it's really once in a lifetime at some point. So it's like,
the gist of what I got from when I talked with them was, you know, again, they've traveled so far, and it was so great for them to see a group who has gone through so much to finally get a chance to perform in the U.S. And it was so cute because she mentioned that it was on her bucket list. And one of the TAN members during the final comments of the performance was like, you know, performing in America was on my bucket list. So it was so nice to see this connection between the fans and the artists, you know, being able to meet and do something that's really a once in a lifetime historic event for everybody.
Oh, yes. That just touches my heart. It's something that those of us probably living in the bigger metropolitan areas, the LAs and San Francisco, we just don't know.
Right. And that was
it's like, oh, well, I missed this K-pop show. I'll just wait for the other 10 that are next weekend.
Yeah. I told you, Stephanie, a while ago when I was sitting there in the audience at the performance, I was mostly looking at the crowd, and I almost cried because it was just, again, as somebody who's been a K-pop fan for over a decade and hasn't really seen a strong community, a strong presence, you know, where I live, it was just so touching to see all of these fans getting to have this moment, and to see TAN giving their all because they gave an amazing performance. It was a very emotional, historic moment for me personally, but also for my city, which I think is so cool.
Yes. And there's also that layer of, this is the first time, so we're not totally sure how it's going to go on both sides. So there's that anticipation, that curiosity, like, oh man, what's going to happen? It's the first time excitement. It just means so much more. Yeah.
We've covered a few things about like how maybe we can make it not the first time. So we've covered, it's good to, you know, find your community, get your community of K-pop fans visibility, you know, posting on social media. Maybe you find people who are also into dancing and you guys form your own little choreo group. Like, that's, you know, visibility is the first thing. And then finding a venue is the next thing that's, you know, also interested in working with a K-pop act. And then just coming together as fans and supporting each other and being able to enjoy it all together.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what K-pop has always been about. Finding your people, expressing yourselves together, and just growing and growing until you create a world-dominating empire that swallows up everything in its wake.
Hey, if it brings more K-pop acts to Fresno, I'm happy to accept the assimilation. Woo. All right, so I guess that wraps up this episode, guys. A very personal, happy project for me. Hope you guys learned something and got something out of it. It wasn't just me.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I loved it. It's just like coming full circle, you know. Just you personally, you got to go to KCON this past year and cover that. You know, talk about, I don't know, I'm curious, what were the similarities or big differences between those experiences for you?
Well, I mean, with KCON, because it's in Los Angeles,
Yeah.
there's the scale is much bigger, which can be a little overwhelming. And
Yeah.
even though while I was there, I made a lot of more connections with people. You know, some people who we had as guests on the show, and I get to meet in person. With this event, again, it was a little bit more closer to home. I feel like I'm making a little bit more long-term friendships and more deeper connections that I think will grow even more in the future. So I'm really excited. I met a lot of really cool people.
I bet. It makes me want to go visit. I want to go to this night market.
Right?
Hey.
Guys, come out to Fresno. We've got if anything, this is a great advertisement to come see K-pop
Come to
in Fresno.
Awesome. Let's do it.
Walking on the moon.